On today's World Insight, Chinese consumers, the proven growth drivers amid tariff war uncertainties. Though, what do Chinese shoppers actually want and buy? Here's a closer look at popular commodities from dog food to beauty products, all sold through live streaming multi-channel networks. Here's how Chinese businesses not only weather turbulence, but survive and thrive. Today's special series.
The tariff war, the world's biggest uncertainty, might not bring manufacturing jobs back to America, yet it shakes the lives of hundreds of millions elsewhere in the world. How are Chinese businesses taking the hit? More importantly, how are they finding their way out? I have been traveling to China's business and manufacturing hubs, talking to many shop assistants, robot technicians, leading multi-channel network stars, and global textile gurus, amazed at how they are reinventing themselves out of the crisis into new horizons, survive and thrive, preparing for a better world. Hello and welcome to Survive and Thrive, a special series on how China's private sector is dealing with uncertainties due to the tariff war, turning challenges into opportunities and creating a new horizon amid all the changes. Today, an up close about how consumption is changing in this country and how businesses are leading the way. Lights, camera, action. Walking into the studio of this leading live stream e-commerce company, you can feel the overwhelming power of Chinese consumers online. Guess what's among the hottest items? Dog food. And who are the VIP customers? A team of flurried food critics who put new products to the ultimate test, their taste buds. On their invitation, I'm taking a seat at the table too, to witness the amazing experience with my own eyes. When tails wag madly and noses sniff eagerly, you know the product is a hit. Here, every lick, sniff, and slurp is pure market feedback. We got 4 bowls. Which one is the champion?
This one takes first place today. This one comes in second. This one ranks third. And this one is in fourth place. Through this tasting, we can see how puppies make choices based on their sense of smell and taste. It shows that most of them tend to prefer wet food. The second one is xiandou, a type of soft food that's quite common in China. We can also see that they like this kind of product. The other 2 are air-dried foods, representing both overseas and domestic varieties. It seems that meat sourced from overseas may also be something the puppies prefer. As for the last one, it appears to be relatively less favored among the products offered today.
谢谢 Icy, thank you. They're so cute. Live stream e-commerce has taken China by storm in recent years, becoming the latest fad for many shoppers for both domestic and international brands. As part of the platform economy, they have the most updated knowledge about the changes in the appetite of Chinese consumers. I was at a breakfast session with a few dogs, and I was told dog foods actually has becoming an ever important category.
In the past few years, especially over the last 5 to 10 years, the pet economy has grown rapidly. More and more families are raising not just one cat or dog, but multiple pets. This has driven up demand for pet food.
There's many new trends going on among the Chinese consumers, so this is one of those. What about the others?
And the same goes for outdoor and sports products. In the past 3 to 4 years, they've really taken off as well. People are becoming more health conscious and are spending more time outdoors, for example, cycling, hiking, and camping. So we are also able to provide a wide range of these products in our live streams. Things like tents, bicycles, especially professional grade ones, as well as a wide range of outdoor gears and tools. These items are catching more and more attention from our users, and people are really starting to enjoy them.
So how much has the consumption habit changed?
A lot, I think. If you look back, say, 10 years ago, most households made purchasing decisions mainly based on price, whether a product was competitively priced or simply cheaper. But in recent years, we've seen that consumers are increasingly focused on value for money. That means they're willing to pay a bit more for better quality or even spend extra for certain brands. So what we're seeing now is that when consumers choose products, they consider a wider range of factors. In the past, people mainly bought essentials like cooking oil, soy sauce, tea, only the basics. But now, they're also willing to spend on things that save them time or provide emotional value. If a product offers a pleasant or satisfying experience, they're happy to pay for that as well.
People are saying that consumers are no longer just chasing new brands. They are more open to affordable alternatives. Do you see that trend also?
Absolutely. It's very clear. I'd say for people in my generation, we grew up during a time when we were more inclined to go along with the crowd, using whatever everyone else was using. It felt safer and more socially acceptable, and we were also more influenced by big-name brands. But now, we're seeing a large number of consumers who care more about whether a product reflects their personal identity. They want something that feels representative of who they are. Many are willing to support lesser-known or niche brands, as long as the design, appearance, and style align with their tastes. Unlike in the past, when many people gravitated toward the same major international brands, today's consumers are more individualistic in their preferences. And that shift has opened up a lot of opportunities for domestic Chinese brands.
The tariff war, the world's biggest uncertainty, might not bring manufacturing jobs back to America, yet it shakes the lives of hundreds of millions elsewhere in the world. How are Chinese businesses taking the hit? More importantly, how are they finding their way out? I have been traveling to China's business and manufacturing hubs, talking to many shop assistants, robot technicians, leading multi-channel network stars, and global textile gurus, amazed at how they are reinventing themselves out of the crisis into new horizons, survive and thrive, preparing for a better world. The multi-channel network Wei Yinghui works for was founded more than 10 years ago. Today, the Shanghai-based organization is a leading MCN. A walk through one of the company's warehouses will leave you dazzled and overwhelmed by the quantities and categories of products. Literally everything you can possibly need. Wow, I've seen so many products along the way.
Yes, we have over 40,000 beauty products in our warehouse. For example, in the lead-up to the major shopping festivals, we usually select over 500 items a day just in the beauty category.
What kind of products most popular these days?
There has been a clear trend in the past couple of years. We feel a growing confidence in domestic brands. First, domestic brands have been improving with better technology. More and more Chinese brands are developing their own ingredients and moving towards a more ingredient-based and efficacy-driven strategy. Consumers are increasingly convinced that domestic products can be just as effective as international luxury brands.
Beyond
just the functional benefits, consumers are also looking for products that offer emotional value. It's actually quite diverse. For example, some products have exceptionally thoughtful design details. Take this makeup item. It's a small lipstick. The thoughtful designs make consumers feel happy during use. It's not just about applying makeup, it's also about the joy it brings. This reflects the self-reward consumption trend.
所以就是这种悦己的这种消费的趋势。另外呢，还有比如说，像这种 IP 联名。
And then there are also products created through IP collaboration.
对，美妆行业越来越多了。
In recent years, these cute co-branded products have really caught on. They can significantly boost sales.
These days, many products originally made for export to the U.S. are also trying to find a foothold in the domestic market. So, what kind of strategies are these manufacturers using?
Right now, most of them are trying to build their own brands in China.
这个比较凸显的是，我们可以看到。
Take this brush, for example. It's a beauty tool, and also some small makeup items. In the past, they didn't really do any brand-oriented operations. But after pivoting to the domestic market and starting to focus on branding, they have seen very noticeable growth.
他们也是增长非常明显的。
这么多新的现象, so many new trends. It must be very interesting for you.
是的，特别是对于
Especially in e-commerce, we typically have 2 to 3 major beauty product sales events each year. And we are constantly watching how trends shift with each one and trying to figure out the evolving consumer needs and preferences they reflect.
With such diversity of products, you get an idea about the huge number of consumers this MCN serves. Wei Yinghui told me it boasts now about 170 million users and partnerships with over 1,600 brands. This story is only part of a much bigger one about China's booming internet platform companies. In recent years, the number of these companies with a market value exceeding $1 billion reached 141, according to a report by the China Academy of Information and Communications Technology. So what does the latest tariff war mean for platforms like Waze? And how are they creating new ways to deal with uncertainties while developing new opportunities? So, as we know these days, there is the challenge of the tariff war, especially from the United States. Now, what does that mean for your business and the business partners you are working with every day?
In fact, that tariff war bring a lot of uncertainties for, I think, for almost all the industries, and they are worrying about that what will be the future market change or the consumer's acceptance. But today we have observed that in the past 20 years, and we have more and more domestic brands. They invested a lot on technology and on their quality. So today, the domestic product is not equivalent to low price, but low quality. And they are bringing the consumer that the reliable quality with cost competitive. So if we're looking forward to the next decades, we think that we should have opportunities that deliver our new concept and a new brand mindset to the new customers, new consumers. They should probably they will get to know that the Chinese-made product, not only Chinese-made, but also Chinese created product will be suitable for their life every day.
So talking about this new trend, I see the international market is getting ever more enthusiastic about China-made products, not just in the older categories, but ever more, right? And yet, this tariff war seems to hinder everything. What is the approach that you are having right now with your business partners around the world? And how do you try to get the best products with the most appropriate price to your consumers worldwide as well through your platform?
So first, our platform was created in China domestic. So we are fulfilling our consumers' demand by the product coming from not only China domestic, but also from international, from US, from Europe, from Southeast Asia.
And Africa, I saw some coffee as well.
Yeah, coffee beans, yeah, Africa. So first, we have observed that in the past 25 years, especially when China joined WTO since 2001, and we have observed that globalization has become a fact. So for most of the international brands, they are not only making the product in one country. So they have their diversified strategies, and they have their factories in China, India, and maybe Southeast Asia and Africa, everywhere. So even if U.S. imposed the tariff on the product from one country, but it does not impact those global brands which they can supply their product from other countries. So this will not impact our supply to the China domestic consumers. And even if that we only have supply from one country, but today we have many other choices. We have multiple products which can replace one single product from functionality and from whatever that the consumers that may need the product to fulfill the demand, right? They not only need one brand product.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, as a result of tariff war, some of those products that are sold to the international market, especially to the American market, might be turning their directions domestically, directly to the Chinese consumers. What does that mean to you as a platform, as an MCN, leading one in China?
I think for MCN company that we have two functions. The first is that for those products which we're selling to the worldwide, today maybe some of them are facing big issues that they cannot continue have the volume to sell, and they started to think about the domestic consumer market. First, we can justify whether the product are capable for China consumers.
Domestic market.
Yes, and probably need to change some labels, or make some additional tests in order to sell in the domestic market. But some of them are designed fully to maybe the U.S. customers or some European customers. So if we directly bring them to Chinese domestic market, they cannot sell them directly. So they have to make some upgrades. So finally, we think that we have to study the industry market, the very stream market, to let people understand that whether there's opportunities if they dig into the market and find out what the real consumer needs. This will help them to find the opportunities.
People are worried about the fierce domestic price competitions. Do you see that as a problem now already?
就在刚刚过去的应该是4月份、5月份嘛，我们看到我们的国家和监管部门其实陆续的。
In fact, just this past April and May, we saw that both the government and regulatory authorities released policy guidelines encouraging high-quality competition and discouraging destructive price undercutting. What we're seeing is that most consumers aren't simply chasing the lowest price. They're looking for products that are reliable in quality and reasonably priced, not necessarily the cheapest. As for online channels like live streaming, it's increasingly about offering compelling content. We often refer to the live stream economy as the attention economy. The key question is, how do you keep people's focus on your products? How do you make sure users stay engaged, especially during major shopping festivals like 6.18 or Double 11? How do you get them to return? This is one of our biggest challenges right now. We need to constantly develop fresh content that resonates with today's consumers and makes them feel the presence and value of the platform. At the same time, we also organize a series of offline activities to keep them engaged. When consumers participate in these events, cast votes, make their voices heard, and then see the products they supported actually get featured, they feel a sense of involvement and reassurance.
我做了选择，同时我的选的产品又能上了，那我就会觉得我有一种踏实感。
You work with e-commerce platforms very closely. Now, I'm sure you are aware that some of the leading e-commerce platforms in China have already suggested 2 weeks after the tariff war that they pledge to buy products that were supposed to go overseas, especially into the American market. They want to buy it and present it onto their e-commerce platform so that these products can be alive, or their companies can be alive. And as a result, I'm sure that synergy between you and the e-commerce platforms are also quite close on those products. So how is it going so far?
After tariff war, that we saw that Alibaba and Jingdong and other platforms, they started to open a window in their platform for those products which were sold to United States. We have seen that this will be very beneficial for those brands oriented to overseas. They have more channels to present their products, and also the platform probably will give them some traffic, right? And in our live rooms, we also started to pay more attention on those products which we can help them to select and bring them to our live rooms. It's not a lot, because I said that we cannot easily bring them from overseas to domestic market, because they have different criteria and inspection result and whatever.
You have to be responsible for your consumers.
Yes. The consumers is our fundamental assets, right? But we have seen the gradual evolution that's from week to week, and some of the brands, they already have found their domestic consumers and through the e-commerce platforms and also through our live rooms. But it's not easy to have a very large volume within a short period.
That's exactly what I want to ask you before we wrap it up. I mean, your company started with just a bunch of people, right? To now, last time I checked with you, you said it's like a few thousands already. Not to mention the live broadcast hours every day, 40 hours with hundreds of thousands of products. Now, how do you see the ways to keep the culture alive and for agility? And just to follow up, what does the latest tariff war say to you about nature of business and about doing business with China and the rest of the world?
怎么样保持一种 agility？ 实际上就是公司的一种文化，就 structure 这种文化是比较扁平化的。
So the question of how to keep everyone aligned really comes down to culture. And one of the defining features of that culture is its flat organizational structure. Each live stream studio operates as a relatively independent business unit. It has a lot of autonomy when it comes to business decisions. Each unit builds its own team and pushes forward with full momentum. When it comes to day-to-day operations like selecting products and scheduling broadcasts, each unit works with incredible speed and flexibility. They may go live for a dozen hours a day and handle 200 to 300 product listings. All of that is managed directly by their own teams. Even technical roles like floor managers, camera operators, and directors are embedded within each unit. That's what enables them to move fast and stay nimble. At the same time, we have a centralized support system or middle office that provides shared services across all units. This includes quality inspection for products, materials review, customer service, intellectual property, and so on. These shared teams support all business units equally. When it comes to bottom-line issues like compliance or legal boundaries, the centralized support team does have the authority to say no. That's how we ensure that no matter how fast or how far each unit runs, whether it's one live stream room or several, we're all operating on top of a solid foundation of compliance and governance. So that's why, even as our team has grown from just a few dozen people to over 1,000, we've still been able to maintain a relatively fast pace. For example, just recently in May, we launched a new live streaming channel specifically aimed at the silver economy. Our motivation came from observing how quickly China's population is aging. Many elderly or middle-aged people are now facing real challenges when it comes to shopping. Online platforms have overwhelming selections, and offline shopping can be just as confusing. And often, the products available are designed with younger consumers in mind. They're not always appropriate or comfortable for seniors. So we opened this dedicated live stream channel. It was handed entirely over to one of our business units to manage independently. They handled everything, including testing and trial runs. And yes, we allowed room for mistakes. That's what we call a tolerance for trial and error. One of the unique things about live stream e-commerce is that your users are always there, right behind you, constantly giving you feedback and pushing you forward. That immediacy, the constant feedback and interaction, forces us to self-reflect and evolve continuously. We make rapid adjustments, because in this business, if you don't adapt, you might not even know how to run your live stream the next day or how to communicate with your audience. So I'd say this kind of responsive, fast-moving environment is exactly what helps us stay energized. And we're deeply grateful to our users who, through each day's live stream, give us not only encouragement, but also constructive criticism. That's what motivates us to keep improving and moving forward. The second point relates to some of the changes we've seen after the tariff war. We believe this will be a long-term effort. It's not something that can be solved overnight. These platforms definitely help expand product reach and distribution. But what they also do is placing export-oriented products and domestic products into direct competition with one another. And in that competition, only the fittest will survive. Stronger brands will inevitably rise to the top. In the past, we often heard people say that products made for export were of better quality than those for domestic sale. That perception did exist several years ago. But now, with the overall improvement in the quality of domestic Chinese brands, we're seeing more products competing on equal footing. Also, we should remember that Chinese consumers are not the same as American consumers. A product that sells well in the US won't necessarily sell well in China. Many Chinese brands have emerged in recent years precisely because they've been listening to the voices of Chinese consumers. They've been iterating their products quickly, refining and adapting them to better suit domestic needs. So for export-oriented brands pivoting to the domestic market, the same principle applies. If they're willing to listen more closely to local users, then they absolutely have the potential to stand out in this new competitive environment.
China will promote the healthy and well-regulated development of the platform economy and give better play to its role in inspiring innovation, expanding consumption, and stabilizing employment. The Chinese government work report earlier promised this. With the world constantly changing as a result of tariff uncertainties, everyone is hoping that the platform economy can swiftly steer its course to unleash new potentials. And that's all we have for this edition of Survive and Strive, our special program focusing on the ongoing tariff war in the world. I'm Tian Wei. See you next time.